Jake Morrison found them behind a gas station dumpster at 2 a.m., two 6-year-old girls in blood-stained pajamas shaking in the rain. "They hurt Mama," the first twin whispered. "She won't wake up," said the other. In that moment, the hardened Hells Angels rider with 20 years of running from responsibility made a choice that would destroy his old life and create something he never knew he needed: a family worth dying for. Before we ride into this story together, I want to ask you something. If this tale moves, you hit that subscribe button. Stay with me until the very end, because what happens next will challenge everything you think you know about redemption. And drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels, how many lives it touches across this country of ours. Now let me take you back to that night. The night everything changed. Jake Diesel Morrison didn't believe in fate. 42 years of hard living had taught him that much. But that night on Highway 9, something pulled him off the interstate toward that gas station. 3 in the morning, rain hammering down. He needed fuel and maybe some bad coffee to keep him awake. He'd just walked out of a club meeting that had gone sideways. Bear McKenzie, the chapter president, had laid it out plain. The North Side Cartel wanted to move product through their territory. "We're bikers, not drug runners," Jake had said. Bear's response was cold. "Times are changing, brother. The club needs money. We adapt or we die." Half the men had nodded. The other half stayed silent. Jake walked out before the vote, but that was tomorrow's problem. Tonight he just needed gas. He was halfway to the station door when he heard it, a whimper, quiet, almost lost under the rain. Jake froze. His hand went to the knife at his belt. Another sound, softer, like something wounded trying not to make noise. He moved toward the dumpster. That's when he saw them. 2 little girls, maybe 6 years old. Identical, matching pink pajamas plastered to their bodies. They huddled together, shaking so hard Jake could see it from 10 feet away. 4 eyes looked up at him, wide, terrified red from crying. Jake raised his hand slowly. "Hey, I'm not gonna hurt you." The girls pressed tighter together. "What are you doing out here?" He kept his voice soft. "Where's your mama?" Both girls started crying, not loud wailing. Broken, hopeless sobbing. "They hurt Mama." One managed between sobs. The other finished, "She won't wake up." Jake's blood went cold. He scanned the parking lot, empty except for his bike. No other cars, no frantic parents searching, no police lights. These girls had been here a while. "My name's Jake. What are your names?" The girls looked at each other. Some kind of silent twin communication. "Emma," said the one on the left. "Lily," whispered the one on the right. "Emma and Lily. Those are real pretty names." Jake's mind raced. "Can you tell me what happened?" Emma clutched something against her chest, a small purple backpack with unicorns on it. "Mama said if something bad happened, we should take her bag and run," Lily said. "She said hide and don't let the bad men find us." "The police?" Emma added, her voice cracking. "Mama said don't trust the police." Jake felt something cold settle in his stomach. A mother telling her 6-year-old daughters not to trust the police. "Where's your mama now?" Both girls started crying harder. Emma managed to speak through tears. "In the car. They shot her. We were supposed to be sleeping, but we heard everything, and Mama told us to hide. And we did. We hid in the back under the blanket like she taught us. And then the bad men came, and they... She couldn't finish. Jake's hands clenched into fists. He forced himself to breathe. "Where's the car?" Emma pointed toward the far end of the parking lot. "Past those trees. Mama pulled off the road. She said someone was following us." "Stay right here. I'm coming back." Jake walked quickly across the parking lot, his hand on his knife. Past the tree line, he could make out a dark sedan. He approached carefully. The driver's side window was shattered. The woman in the front seat had been dead for hours, multiple gunshot wounds. But even in the chaos, Jake could see she'd tried to protect her daughters until the end. The back seat was full of blankets carefully arranged, a hiding place a mother had prepared. Jake's light caught something on the passenger seat, a notebook, leather-bound. He reached in and pulled it out. Sarah Chen. investigative reporter. The next pages made his blood run colder with every word. Names, dates, locations, photos of police officers meeting with known cartel members, bank accounts, wire transfers. Sarah Chen had documented an entire network of dirty cops running protection for the Northside cartel. And one name jumped out, Chief Martin Morrison, his cousin, the man who'd beaten teenage Jake half to death 15 years ago and told him he'd never be anything but a criminal. Jake's hands shook as he flipped through more pages. Sarah had everything. Recordings, photographs, testimony. Enough to take down an entire operation spanning 3 states. And they'd killed her for it. Those girls weren't just witnesses, they were loose ends. Jake shoved the notebook inside his jacket and ran back. Emma and Lily were exactly where he'd left them. He knelt in front of them. Girls, listen carefully. Your mama was very brave. She was trying to stop bad people, and those bad people are going to be looking for you. Fresh tears streamed down their faces. But I'm not going to let them find you. We need to leave right now. Can you walk? They nodded, but when they tried to stand, their legs gave out. Too cold, too scared, too exhausted. Jake scooped up both girls, one in each arm. They weighed nothing. Hold on to me. Small arms wrapped around his neck. He carried them to his Harley and sat Emma on the fuel tank facing backward against his chest. Lily, he positioned behind him, her arms around his waist. He wrapped his leather jacket around Emma. You scared of motorcycles? We've never been on one, Emma whispered. Well, this is going to be one hell of a first ride. Hold on tight. Don't let go no matter what. Where are we going? Lily asked. Jake started the engine. Somewhere safe. But even as he said it, he knew the truth. Nowhere was safe. Not anymore. He pulled out his phone, typed a text to Bear McKenzie. Found something. Something big. Need the clubhouse. Emergency meeting. Now. Bear's response came back fast. Better be good, brother. We just voted you out for walking away earlier. Jake's jaw clenched. Voted out. I'm bringing something that changes everything. Trust me one more time. He kicked the Harley into gear and pulled out 2 terrified little girls holding on to him like he was their last hope. Maybe he was. The ride normally took 40 minutes. Jake made it in 25, pushing the Harley faster than he should have. But his gut screamed that every minute counted. Emma stayed pressed against his chest, rigid with fear. Lily gripped him so tight his ribs ached. Neither made a sound over the engine's roar. Jake had never felt more protective of anything in his life. He pulled up to the clubhouse and killed the engine. Snake stood at the door. 6'5", scarred knuckles eyes that had seen too much violence. What the hell, Diesel? I need to see Bear, right now. Brother, we just voted. I know what you voted. This is bigger than club politics. Snake studied him, then pushed open the door. The clubhouse went silent when Jake walked in with 2 little girls in blood-stained pajamas holding his hands. 30 men stared in disbelief. Bear McKenzie stood behind the bar, beer halfway to his lips. 55 years old, built like a tank with gray-streaked hair and a face carved from granite. What the hell is this? Jake walked further in. Emma and Lily pressed against his legs, trembling. This is why I walked out of that vote. He pulled out Sarah Chen's notebook, held it up. Sarah Chen, investigative reporter. She spent 2 years building a case against the Northside cartel and the dirty cops protecting them. She documented everything. Names, dates, transactions, photographs. Jake's voice hardened. They murdered her tonight. Shot her in her car while her daughters hid in the back seat. Emma and Lily are 6 years old and they just watched their mother die. The silence was absolute. Now those same people are hunting 2 little girls because they're witnesses. And in about an hour they're going to be tearing apart every inch of this county looking for them. He looked around the room, meeting eyes of men he'd ridden with for 20 years. I found them behind a gas station dumpster, soaking wet and terrified. And I won't let them get hurt. So here's what's going to happen. I'm taking these girls somewhere safe. I'm protecting them, and I'm doing it with or without the club. Bear set down his beer slowly. Diesel, you know what you're asking. I know exactly what I'm asking. You're asking us to go to war with corrupt cops and the cartel. You're asking us to paint a target on this club. I'm asking you to remember why we started this brotherhood, A voice cut through from the back. Reaper, one of the younger members, built like a linebacker covered in tattoos. This is bullshit, Diesel. Those kids ain't our problem. Jake's eyes went cold. Then what the hell are we, Reaper? Just another gang running drugs and looking out for ourselves. We're survivors, Reaper shot back. We don't stick our necks out for what? Jake's voice rose. For kids. For innocent people. Then what the hell are we surviving for? Enough. Bear's voice cracked like a whip. The room fell silent again. Bear came around the bar and stood in front of Jake. Let me see that notebook. Jake hesitated, then handed it over. Bear flipped through pages slowly. His expression grew darker with every turn. When he got to the photographs, his face went white. Jesus Christ. Captain Reeves meeting with Hector Ruiz. Half the sheriffs in 3 counties are on the cartel's payroll. He looked up. And Chief Martin Morrison, your cousin. Martin stopped being my family 15 years ago. Bear studied the notebook for another long moment, then looked down at Emma and Lily. The girls were shaking, pressed against Jake's legs, trying to make themselves invisible. You girls hungry? Bear asked, his voice softer than Jake had ever heard it. They nodded timidly. Maggie, Bear called. Get these girls some food. Find them dry clothes. Maggie, the club matriarch, 60 years old, tough as nails, came forward. Come on, sweethearts. Let's get you something warm. Emma and Lily looked up at Jake, terrified. It's okay, Jake said gently. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be right here. They followed Maggie slowly, looking back every few steps. When they were out of earshot, Bear's expression hardened again. He turned to face the room. Here's the situation, Bear said. Diesel found evidence that could take down the biggest corruption ring on the West Coast. He also found 2 little girls who are now targets. Every dirty cop and cartel hitman in 3 states is going to be hunting them. So we're just going to throw away everything we built, Reaper demanded. For 2 kids we don't even know. Watch your mouth, Snake growled from the doorway. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. You don't speak for everyone, Chain said quietly. The treasurer stood up from his seat. 60 years old, white hair, hands scarred from decades of mechanical work. I got a daughter, 2 granddaughters. They're about the same age as those girls in there. He looked at Reaper. You think I'm going to sit here and let 2 babies get murdered because we're too scared to help? Then you don't know me at all. It ain't about scared, another voice called out, Wrench, one of the mechanics. It's about smart. We help Diesel. We're all targets. Then we're targets, Snake said simply. I didn't put on these colors to play it safe. Easy for you to say, Reaper shot back. You got no family. Some of us got people to protect. Those girls are somebody's family too, Jake said quietly. Or they were, until tonight. The room fell silent again. Bear looked around at his men, at 20 years of brotherhood standing at a crossroads. We're not voting on this. What? Reaper's voice rose. That's not protocol. I said we're not voting. Bear's voice was steel. Because this ain't a club decision. This is bigger than the club. Diesel wants to protect those girls, he's gonna do it. The question is whether we help him or not. Bear's eyes swept the room. Anyone who wants to help Diesel does it off the record. Off the books. No club involvement. You help him as a man, not as a Hell's Angel. If you get caught, the club doesn't back you. We clear. Silence. Then Chain spoke up. I got a cabin up near Mount Shasta, off the grid. My brother and I built it before he died. No one knows about it. You can take the girls there. I know a guy, Snake added. Marcus Webb, former Special Forces. If you need security, he owes me a favor. I got medical supplies, Maggie called from the kitchen, and I can teach you how to take care of kids. They're going to need more than just protection. More voices chimed in. Safe houses, contacts, resources. Bear turned to Jake. Diesel, you understand what this means. You're asking us to help you go to war with your own cousin, with the police, with the cartel. That's not a bar fight, that's life and death. I understand. Then you need to make a choice. Bear's voice dropped. You want to take off those colors and do this on your own, I'll respect it. Hell, I'll help you. But don't drag the club into something that could get everyone killed unless you're all in. The words hit Jake like a physical blow. He looked toward the kitchen where he could hear Emma and Lily talking quietly with Maggie. Their voices were still shaky, still scared, but there was something else there now. A tiny spark of hope. Then he looked at the men around him. Brothers he'd ridden with for 20 years. Men he'd bled with. Men he'd trusted with his life. And he knew what he had to do. Slowly, deliberately, Jake reached up and unzipped his leather vest. 20 years of brotherhood. 20 years of loyalty. The Hell's Angels patch on his back had been earned through blood and fire. He pulled off the vest and folded it carefully. The room went dead silent. Jake set the vest on the bar in front of Bear. "Then I'm out," Jake said simply. "I'm out, and I'm taking those girls somewhere safe, and I'm doing whatever it takes to keep them alive." The room erupted. "Diesel, you don't have to—" Chain started. "This is insane," Reaper shouted. "Everyone shut up!" Bear's voice cut through the chaos. He picked up Jake's vest, held it for a long moment. Then he looked Jake in the eyes. "You're doing the right thing," Bear said quietly. "I don't know if you're going to survive it, but you're doing the right thing." He set the vest down and pulled Jake into a brief, hard hug. "But that don't mean you're alone," Bear continued. He stepped back and addressed the room. "Like I said, anyone who helps Diesel does it as a man, not as a brother. But let me be real clear about something." Bear's voice dropped to something dangerous. "Those girls in there are under our protection now. I don't care if you're helping Diesel or not. If anyone cop, cartel, or otherwise comes sniffing around here asking questions, we don't know nothing. We haven't seen nothing. And if they push, we push back harder. That understood?" Around the room, heads nodded. Reaper stood up and walked out without a word. Bear watched him go, then turned back to Jake. "You got maybe 6 hours before every badge in California knows you're involved. Chains will give you directions to his cabin. Snake's calling Marcus Webb tonight, and Diesel. Yeah, make copies of that notebook. Multiple copies. Stash them everywhere. Because that notebook is the only thing keeping you and those girls alive." Bear's eyes hardened. "Your cousin Martin, he's gonna come after you with everything he's got. You ready for that?" Jake thought about the beating Martin had given him 15 years ago, the broken ribs, the black eyes, the words that had echoed in his head ever since. "You're too damaged to ever be anything but a criminal." "Let him come," Jake said quietly. Maggie brought Emma and Lily back out. They were wearing clean clothes now, sweatshirts that were way too big, sweatpants rolled up at the ankles. They'd eaten, but they still looked shell-shocked. Jake knelt down in front of them. "You ready to go?" "Where?" Emma whispered. "Somewhere safe. A cabin in the mountains. No one's gonna find you there." "Promise?" Lily asked. Jake looked at these two little girls who'd lost everything in one night, who were depending on him completely, who trusted him even though they'd only known him for 2 hours. "I promise," he said, "on my life." An hour later, Jake was back on his Harley heading northeast. Emma rode in front, wrapped in a too-big sweatshirt. Lily was behind him, bundled in a blanket. The purple backpack was strapped across Jake's chest. Before leaving, Maggie had pulled Jake aside. "You know anything about raising kids?" she'd asked. "Not a damn thing." "Then you better learn fast." She'd pressed a piece of paper into his hand. "My number. You call me if you need help. Day or night. I don't care what Bear said about off the record, those girls need someone who knows what they're doing." "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. You're about to find out that keeping kids alive is harder than anything you've done on the road." She'd paused. "But Jake, you did the right thing tonight. Don't forget that when things get hard." Now riding through darkness, Jake's phone buzzed. He pulled over and checked it. Unknown number. "We know you have the Chen girls. Bring them to the abandoned warehouse on Industrial Road by sunrise and we'll let you walk away. Fight us, and we'll make sure you die slow." Jake stared at the message for a long moment. They'd found him already, less than 3 hours after he'd picked up the girls. That meant someone at the gas station had cameras. Or someone had tracked Sarah's car. Or, it didn't matter how. What mattered was they knew. Jake deleted the message and kept riding. Sunrise was in 4 hours. By then, he'd be 20 miles deep into the mountains with locked doors and a former Special Forces operator watching his back. Let them come looking. Emma shifted against his chest. Jake. Yeah, sweetheart. Are you scared? The question surprised him. Why do you ask? Because we're scared. And Mama always said it was okay to be scared as long as you were brave too. Jake felt something tight in his chest. Your mama was a smart woman. So are you scared? He thought about lying, about telling them everything was fine. But something about the way Emma asked, like she needed the truth more than comfort, made him answer honestly. Yeah, he said. I'm scared, but I'm also brave. And I'm going to keep you safe no matter what. Why? Lily asked from behind him. You don't even know us. It was a good question. The kind of question Jake had been asking himself for the last 3 hours. Why had he stopped at that gas station? Why hadn't he just called the cops and driven away? Why had he thrown away 20 years of his life for 2 little girls he'd never met? Because, Jake said slowly, I spent my whole life running from things, running from responsibility, running from anything that made me care, and I'm tired of running. So you're going to run with us instead? Emma asked. Jake smiled despite everything. Yeah, sweetheart, I guess I am. They rode in silence for a while. Then Lily spoke up again, her voice barely audible over the engine. Mama used to say that angels come in all shapes, even ones with motorcycles and tattoos. Jake felt his throat tighten. Your mama sounds like she was an amazing person. She was. Emma's voice was thick with tears. She was the best mama in the whole world. Then we're going to make sure the bad people who hurt her don't get away with it, Jake said fiercely. Your mama was trying to stop them, and we're going to finish what she started. Promise, they both asked at the same time. Promise. The Harley ate up the miles. Behind them, somewhere in the darkness, were corrupt cops and cartel hitmen and people who wanted to silence 2 little girls forever. But ahead of them was a cabin in the mountains, a former Special Forces operator, a chance to fight back. And Jake Morrison, former Hell's Angels rider, former runner, former man with nothing to lose, had finally found something worth fighting for. He'd spent 20 years avoiding this exact moment, avoiding responsibility, avoiding connection, avoiding anything that made him vulnerable. But somewhere between that gas station dumpster and this mountain road with 2 little girls, depending on him completely, Jake had stopped running from life and started running towards something better, even if it killed him. Emma's voice broke the silence one more time. Jake, when this is over, what happens to us? The question hung in the cold night air. Jake didn't have an answer. He didn't know what happened after the fight, didn't know if they'd survive, didn't know if foster care would take the girls or if some distant relative would claim them. All he knew was that right now in this moment, these 2 little girls needed him, and that was enough. We'll figure it out, Jake said quietly. Together. Lily's arms tightened around his waist. Emma pressed closer against his chest. And somewhere deep in Jake Morrison's heart, in a place that had been cold and empty for 42 years, something finally came alive. The cabin was still 30 miles away. But Jake wasn't running anymore. He was riding toward the future, whatever it held. The cabin appeared just as dawn started breaking through the trees. Jake killed the engine and sat there for a moment feeling Emma and Lily's breathing against him. They'd fallen asleep somewhere around mile 15, exhausted beyond anything children should ever experience. We're here, Jake said softly. Emma stirred first. Is it safe? Safer than anywhere else right now. He helped them off the bike. Both girls stumbled, legs stiff from the ride. Jake caught them before they fell. The front door opened before they reached it. Marcus Webb stood in the doorway. Early 40s military haircut, going gray eyes that missed nothing. He wore jeans and a flannel shirt, but Jake could see the gun holstered at his hip. Snake called me 2 hours ago, Marcus said. His voice was quiet, controlled. Said you'd be coming with 2 girls and a whole lot of trouble. That about sums it up. Marcus looked down at Emma and Lily. His expression softened slightly. You girls hungry? I got eggs and bacon going. They nodded, but didn't move closer. Still scared, still not sure who to trust. It's okay, Jake said. Marcus is a friend. He's going to help us. Marcus stepped aside and let them in. The cabin was small. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a main room that served as kitchen and living space. But it was warm and dry, and most importantly, defensible. Jake noticed the windows had heavy shutters. The doors were reinforced steel despite looking like wood. Snake had been right. Marcus knew what he was doing. Sit, Marcus said, gesturing to the table. Eat, then we'll talk. Emma and Lily sat close together, not touching the food at first, just staring at it like they weren't sure it was real. Go ahead, Jake encouraged. It's safe. Emma picked up a piece of bacon tentatively, took a small bite, then another. Within seconds, both girls were eating like they hadn't seen food in days, which Jake realized they probably hadn't eaten a real meal since before their mother died. Marcus poured coffee and sat across from Jake. Snake said you got evidence that could take down Chief Morrison and half the police force in 3 counties. Yeah. Jake pulled out Sarah Chen's notebook, now wrapped in multiple layers of plastic. The girl's mother was an investigative reporter. She spent 2 years documenting corruption between the North Side cartel and local law enforcement. Marcus flipped through the pages, his expression growing darker. This is extensive. Bank records, photographs, testimony. She even got recordings of them discussing shipments. The recordings are on that. Jake pointed to the purple backpack Emma still clutched. Digital recorder. Dozens of files. And they killed her for it. Last night, shot her in her car while the girls hid in the back seat. Marcus looked at Emma and Lily, who were still eating but watching the adults carefully. How old? 6. Jesus. Marcus set down the notebook. Okay. First things first. We need to make this place secure. I got motion sensors set up on the access road, but we need more. Cameras, tripwires, and we need to figure out who we can trust in law enforcement because right now that list is real short. Can't trust anyone local. Morrison's got too many people in his pocket. What about federal FBI? Jake hesitated. Snake mentioned someone. Agent Rebecca Santos, DEA turned FBI. She's been investigating the cartel for years but could never make anything stick because the local cops kept blocking her. We need to reach out to her, today, because those recordings in that notebook are only valuable if we get them to someone who can actually do something with them. And if she's dirty too, then we're screwed regardless. Marcus stood up and walked to the window, checking the tree line. But we can't sit here waiting. They're going to find this place eventually. We need to go on offense. Emma's voice cut through the conversation. What does that mean, offense? Both men turned. The girls had stopped eating and were watching them with wide, frightened eyes. Jake went to them and knelt down. It means we're not just going to hide. We're going to make sure the people who hurt your mama face justice. But they're police, Lily whispered. Mama said the police were supposed to help people. Good police do help people, Jake said carefully. But some police are bad. They forget that their job is to protect people, not hurt them. And your mama was trying to stop those bad police. So now you're trying to stop them, Emma asked. Yeah, sweetheart, that's exactly what we're doing. But what if they hurt you too? Lily's eyes filled with tears. What if they shoot you like they shot Mama? Jake felt something break in his chest. These girls had already lost everything. The idea of them losing someone else, losing him, was clearly terrifying them. I'm not going anywhere, Jake said firmly. I promised you that, remember, I'm going to keep you safe, and I'm going to make sure the bad people face consequences. Both things, at the same time. How? Emma demanded. Her voice had an edge to it now, anger beneath the fear. You're just one person. They're the police. They have guns and cars and everything. He's not alone. Marcus's voice was quiet but solid. I'm here too, and I've fought worse than corrupt cops. Who are you? Lily asked. Someone who believes kids shouldn't have to be scared. Someone who believes your mama was brave and deserves justice. Marcus pulled out a chair and sat down at their level. You girls know what special forces means. They shook their heads. It means I was a soldier. A really good one. I spent 15 years protecting people who couldn't protect themselves. And that's what I'm going to do now. Protect you. Why? Emma's question was blunt. You don't know us either. Marcus smiled slightly. You're right. I don't know you. But I know what it's like to lose people you love. And I know that sometimes the only thing standing between innocent people and bad people is someone willing to fight back. So that's what I'm doing. Fighting back. The girls looked at each other. That twin communication again. Okay, Emma said finally. But if the bad people come, we're not hiding. We're helping. Absolutely not, Jake said immediately. Why not? Emma's voice rose. We're not babies. We can help. You're 6 years old. So Mama taught us things. She taught us how to call 911, how to run if we needed to, how to hide evidence. Emma's voice cracked. She taught us how to be brave even when we were scared. We can help. Jake looked at Marcus, who shrugged slightly. Tell you what, Marcus said to the girls. How about this? We teach you how to stay safe. Where to go if bad people show up. How to signal for help. But you don't fight. You survive. That's your job. Survive and be witnesses so your mama's work wasn't for nothing. Deal. Emma considered this. Can we learn to shoot? No, Jake and Marcus said simultaneously. But no guns, Jake said firmly. Not at 6 years old. Not ever if I have anything to say about it. Lily spoke up quietly. Mama had a gun. She showed us once, told us never to touch it. Your mama was smart, Marcus said. Guns are tools, dangerous tools. And right now the best thing you girls can do is stay safe and let us handle the dangerous stuff. Okay. They didn't look happy about it, but they nodded. Jake stood up. We need to call Agent Santos now, before Morrison figures out where we are. Marcus pulled out a secure phone, not the kind you bought at a regular store. Military grade, encrypted. He dialed a number and put it on speaker. 3 rings. Then a woman's voice, sharp and professional. Santos. Agent Santos, my name is Marcus Webb, former Delta Force. I'm calling because I have information about the Northside Cartel and police corruption in Northern California. A pause. Who gave you this number? Snake Malone, Hell's Angels chapter in Reading. Another pause longer this time. I'm listening. Jake leaned toward the phone. My name's Jake Morrison. I found 2 girls last night at a gas station. Their mother, Sarah Chen, had just been murdered. She was an investigative reporter. He heard Santos suck in a breath. Sarah Chen is dead. You knew her. I've been trying to get her to work with me for 6 months. She had evidence, but wouldn't hand it over until she was sure I wasn't compromised. Santos's voice was tight. When was she killed? Last night, around midnight, shot multiple times in her car on Highway 9. And you have her daughters, Emma and Lily. They're 6. They're safe with me and Marcus right now. Where? Jake hesitated. Not over the phone. Smart. Santos was quiet for a moment. Jake Morrison. Any relation to Chief Martin Morrison? He's my cousin. Christ. Does he know you have the girls? Someone knows. I got a text 3 hours ago threatening me if I didn't hand them over. Then you're already compromised. They're tracking you somehow. Marcus swore under his breath. The phone. They tracked his phone. Turn it off, Santos ordered. Right now. Destroy it if you can. Jake pulled out his phone and powered it down. But the damage was already done. They'd been pinging his location for hours. How long until they find you? Santos asked. Hard to say. We're remote, off the grid. But if they have resources, they have resources. Morrison's got half the state police in his pocket plus cartel sicarios who'd love to get their hands on Sarah's evidence. Santos's voice was all business now. Here's what's going to happen. I'm driving to you. It'll take me 4 hours, but you need to send me proof first. Something that shows me this is real and not a setup. Marcus looked at Jake, who looked at the girls. Lily, Jake said gently. Can I see your mama's recorder? The one in the backpack. Lily clutched the backpack tighter. Why? We need to send someone proof that your mama's evidence is real, so they'll help us. How do we know they won't hurt us like the bad police? It was a fair question, a smart question. These girls had learned fast not to trust anyone. You don't, Jake said honestly. Not for sure. But right now, Agent Santos is our best shot at making sure your mama's work matters, at making sure the bad people face consequences. Emma and Lily looked at each other. Another one of those silent conversations. Then Lily slowly unzipped the backpack and pulled out a small digital recorder. She handed it to Jake like she was handing over her mother's heart. Thank you, sweetheart. Marcus took the recorder and scrolled through the files. There's dozens here, hours of recordings. Play one, Santos said through the phone. Something recent. Marcus hit play on a file dated 2 days ago. Sarah Chen's voice filled the cabin. Professional clear determined, this is recording number 47, date October 18th, location parking lot of the Riverside Diner. I'm watching Chief Martin Morrison meet with Hector Ruiz, head of the Northside Cartel's California operations. They've been here for 20 minutes. Morrison just handed Ruiz an envelope. Ruiz is counting cash. I'm getting photos now. The sound of a camera clicking. Then Morrison's voice faint, but audible. Next shipment comes through on the 23rd. Same route. You get your product, I get my cut. Everyone's happy. Ruiz's response was harder to hear, but unmistakable. You better make sure your boys look the other way. Last time we almost got stopped by that state trooper who isn't on the payroll. He's been dealt with. Dealt with how? He won't be a problem anymore. The recording ended. Silence filled the cabin. Santos spoke first, her voice shaking with barely controlled rage. Send me that file. Right now. And every other file on that recorder. I want everything. How do we know you won't take the evidence and disappear? Marcus asked. You don't. But I've spent 3 years trying to take down Morrison and his network. Sarah Chen's recordings are the missing piece. If I wanted to cover this up, I would have done it years ago when she first approached me. She approached you? Jake asked. 6 months ago. Said she had evidence, but needed to verify I was clean first. She was careful. Smart. And now she's dead because someone figured out what she was doing. Santos paused. Those girls witnessed their mother's murder. They're the only living witnesses besides you. Which means every corrupt cop and cartel hitman in California wants them dead. You want to protect them. You help me build an airtight case that puts Morrison and his people away for life. That's the only way those girls are ever going to be safe. Marcus looked at Jake. Your call, brother. Jake looked at Emma and Lily. They were watching him with those wide, trusting eyes, waiting for him to make the right choice. Trusting him even though he'd given them no reason to beyond showing up when they needed help. He thought about Sarah Chen dying in that car, using her last moments to make sure her daughters escaped. Thought about the notebook full of evidence she'd compiled at tremendous personal risk. Thought about her final act of love telling her daughters to run and hide. Sarah had trusted that someone would find them. Someone would help them. Someone would finish what she started. Jake was that someone. Send her the files, Jake said. All of them. Marcus worked quickly, using the secure phone to upload the audio files to an encrypted server Santos could access. It took 20 minutes. 20 minutes where Jake paced the cabin, and Emma and Lily sat at the table holding hands watching everything with those careful, scared eyes. When it was done, Santos came back on the line. Got them. I'm listening to the first few now. This is Jake. This is everything. This is enough to take down Morrison Ruiz and at least 24 other cops and cartel members. Good. So what now? Now I drive to you. We secure the girls and the physical evidence. Then we move fast before Morrison realizes what's happening. How do we know he doesn't already realize? Marcus asked. If he knows Jake has the girls, he knows we have the evidence. He knows Jake has something, but he doesn't know exactly what. Sarah was careful about where she stored information. If Morrison knew about all the recordings and photographs, he would have moved faster. The fact that he's threatening instead of attacking means he's not sure what he's up against. Yet, Jake said. Yet, Santos agreed. Which is why time matters. I'll be there in 4 hours. Until then, you sit tight. No more phone calls. No more transmissions. You're dark until I arrive. Understood. Understood. And Jake, Keep those girls safe. They're the bravest witnesses I've ever had, and they don't even know it yet. The line went dead. Marcus put the phone down and looked at Jake. 4 hours. We need to prepare for the possibility that Morrison's people show up before Santos does. What do we do? Emma asked. She'd been listening to everything, processing it with that scary intelligence 6-year-olds shouldn't need to have. Marcus walked to a closet and pulled out a backpack. Military surplus. First we pack. You girls get extra clothes, food, water. If we need to run, we run fast. Where would we run to? Lily asked. There's a ranger station about 10 miles north. If things go bad here, we head there. It's federal property, which means local cops can't just walk in without jurisdiction. Won't they just follow us? They'll try, but I know these mountains better than any corrupt cop. Marcus looked at Jake. You ever done tactical retreat under fire? Not with kids involved. Then let's hope it doesn't come to that. Marcus pulled out 2 child-sized emergency whistles. Girls, take these. If you get separated from us, and I mean only if you get separated, you blow these 3 times. We'll come find you. But otherwise, you stay quiet and you stay close. Understand? They nodded, taking the whistle seriously. Good. Now go pack anything you need from your backpack, just the essentials. Emma and Lily went to the bedroom Marcus had set up for them. Jake watched them go, feeling that now familiar tightness in his chest. You did good picking them up, Marcus said quietly. A lot of men would have driven past. Yeah, well, I'm starting to think I didn't have a choice. We always have a choice. You made the right one. Jake looked out the window at the tree line. Dawn was fully breaking now. Beautiful morning. Birds singing. The kind of peaceful scene that made it hard to believe they were preparing for a war. You really think Santos is clean? Jake asked. I think Sarah Chen thought she was clean. And Sarah spent 2 years investigating corruption. If she was willing to hand over evidence to Santos, that's good enough for me. And if you're wrong, Marcus checked his gun, ejected the magazine, checked the rounds, slammed it back in. Then we're screwed, but at least we're screwed trying to do the right thing. That's comforting. Welcome to the complicated world of protecting kids, brother. Nothing's certain. Everything's terrifying. And you do it anyway because the alternative is unthinkable. Emma and Lily came back out, backpacks on. They looked so small, so vulnerable. But there was something else in their eyes now. Not just fear. Determination. We're ready, Emma said. Ready for what? Jake asked gently. For whatever happens next. Lily nodded in agreement. Mama always said we were fighters. That Chen women don't give up. Jake knelt down in front of them. Your mama was right. You are fighters. But right now, I need you to be smart fighters. That means doing what Marcus and I tell you. It means staying safe. It means... The motion sensor alarm went off. Marcus was at the window in seconds, gun drawn. Vehicle approaching. Fast. Jake's heart slammed against his ribs. How many? Just one. Can't see make or model yet through the trees. Santos said 4 hours. This isn't Santos. Marcus's voice was grim. She'd call first. Whoever this is, they're not friendly. What do we do? Emma's voice was scared but steady. Marcus looked at Jake. Back room, now. There's a crawl space under the floor. Emergency exit that leads to the ravine. You take the girls and go. I'm not leaving you two. You're not leaving me. You're protecting witnesses. That's the priority. Marcus grabbed the backpack with the evidence and shoved it at Jake. Go, now. If I don't come after you in 10 minutes, you run for the ranger station. Don't stop. Don't look back. Jake wanted to argue, wanted to fight. But Marcus was right. The girls were the priority. Come on, Jake said, grabbing Emma and Lily's hands. Stay quiet. Stay close. He pulled them toward the back bedroom, just as they heard the vehicle pull up outside. Car doors opening. Multiple voices. At least 3 men, maybe more. Then a voice Jake recognized even after 15 years. Chief Martin Morrison, his cousin. Calling through the cabin door, Jake, I know you're in there. Come out and let's talk like family. Jake froze. Emma and Lily looked up at him terrified. We ain't family, Martin, Jake shouted back. Haven't been for 15 years. That's harsh, cousin. After everything I did for you. You mean after you beat me half to death and told me I'd never be anything? A pause. Then, you were a punk kid making bad choices. I tried to set you straight. By breaking my ribs and calling me trash. Water under the bridge, Jake. I'm here about those girls you picked up. They're witnesses to a crime. They need to be in protective custody. Protective custody with the people who killed their mother? I don't think so. Their mother was involved in criminal activity. She was working with the cartel gathering information to blackmail law enforcement. Those girls are in danger because of what she did. The lie was smooth, practiced. Martin had probably been rehearsing it since last night. That's bullshit, and you know it, Jake called back. Is it, or did she tell you a story that fit what you wanted to believe? Martin's voice changed, grew harder. You always were gullible, Jake, always believing the best about people. Sarah Chen wasn't a hero. She was a criminal. And those girls are accessories whether they know it or not. In the back room, Lily started crying. Emma wrapped her arms around her sister. We're not criminals, Emma whispered. Mama wasn't a criminal. I know, Jake said quietly. He's lying. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Crawl space now. I'll hold them off. There's at least 3 of them out there. I've handled worse odds. Marcus's smile was cold. Besides, they want the girls alive. That means they can't just storm in guns blazing. Gives me an advantage. Outside, Martin was still talking. Jake, be reasonable. You're on the run with 2 kids. You got no resources, no backup, nowhere to go. I'm offering you a way out. Hand over the girls. Give me whatever evidence Sarah had, and you walk away. Clean slate. I'll even forget about the club voting you out. How'd you know about that? Jake asked, his mind racing. We have eyes everywhere, cousin. You think the Hells Angels operate without us knowing. We let you boys play your games because it's easier than shutting you down. But when you step into real criminal activity, kidnapping, obstruction of justice, that's when we have to act. Jake looked at Marcus. He's got people in the club. Probably, but probably not everyone. Or he would have found this place already. That was true. The cabin's location had been shared by multiple brothers, but Morrison had still needed to track them somehow, which meant his reach wasn't total. Not yet. Last chance, Jake. Martin's voice lost its friendly edge. You got 30 seconds to send those girls out or we're coming in. And when we come in, people are gonna get hurt. You want that on your conscience. Emma grabbed Jake's hand. Don't give us to him. Please. He's lying. Mama said never trust Chief Morrison. She said he was the worst of all of them. I'm not giving you to anyone, Jake said firmly. He looked at Marcus. How long can you hold them? Long as it takes. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I got. Marcus checked his gun again. Go, now, 10 minutes. If I'm not behind you, run. Jake wanted to argue, wanted to fight alongside Marcus, but Emma and Lily were holding his hands, trusting him, and he couldn't let them down. 10 minutes, Jake agreed. He pulled up the floorboards in the bedroom, revealing a narrow crawl space, dark tight, leading down into what looked like a tunnel. You first, he told Emma. Then Lily. I'll be right behind you. Where does it go? Emma asked. Somewhere safe. Trust me. Emma looked at her sister. Then, with more courage than any 6-year-old should need, she dropped down into the darkness. Lily followed. Jake was about to drop down after them when he heard it. A crash. The front door being forced open. Federal agents. Everyone on the ground. But that wasn't Santos's voice. That was one of Morrison's people pretending to be federal. Gunshots erupted. Marcus returned fire. Jake dropped into the crawl space and pulled the floorboard shut above him, just as he heard boots thundering through the cabin. In the darkness, Emma and Lily were crying softly. Jake felt his way forward, found them, pulled them close. It's okay, he whispered, even though it wasn't, even though nothing was okay. Just move. Quietly. Stay with me. They crawled through the tunnel. It was tight, claustrophobic dirt walls pressing in from all sides. Jake could hear more gunfire above them, muffled by earth and wood. Please let Marcus be okay, Jake thought. Please let him hold them off. The tunnel stretched for what felt like miles, but was probably only 50 yards. Jake's hands found a ladder. He climbed up, pushing against a wooden hatch. It opened onto the ravine Marcus had mentioned. Heavy brush, steep slopes, perfect cover. Jake pulled Emma up first, then Lily. They were both crying now, not even trying to be quiet. "I know," Jake said. "I know you're scared, but we have to move." "What about Marcus?" Emma sobbed. "He's buying us time. What if they kill him?" Jake didn't have an answer for that, so he just took their hands and started running. Behind them, the gunfire continued. And Jake Morrison, former Hells Angels rider, current fugitive, brand new father to two terrified little girls, ran toward an uncertain future, praying that the man he'd just met was as good as Snake had promised. Praying that Agent Santos was really coming. Praying that Sarah Chen's evidence would be enough. But mostly just praying they'd survive the next 10 minutes. Because that was all he could see right now. 10 minutes at a time. One desperate choice after another. And two little girls depending on him to make the right ones. They'd been running for 7 minutes when Jake heard it. A single gunshot. Different from the others. Final. Then silence. Emma stumbled, and Jake caught her before she fell. Both girls were gasping for breath, faces red, legs shaking. They couldn't keep this pace much longer. "Please," Lily wheezed. "Please, I can't." "Just a little further," Jake urged, but his own lungs were burning. The ravine was steep, the brush thick, and carrying the evidence backpack, while trying to keep two exhausted 6-year-olds moving was like trying to run through quicksand. His phone, the one he'd powered down, vibrated in his pocket. Jake stopped dead, stared at it. "What?" Emma asked between gasps. "My phone. It's off, but it's still..." Jake pulled it out. The screen was black, but he could feel it vibrating. "They're tracking it even when it's off. Jesus, Marcus was right." He threw the phone as hard as he could into the ravine. It disappeared into the brush. "Won't they just follow where it stopped moving?" Emma asked. The question was too smart for a 6-year-old. But then again, these girls had learned to think like fugitives in less than 12 hours. "Yeah," Jake admitted. "But it'll buy us maybe 10 minutes. Come on." They kept moving slower now. Jake's mind was racing. Marcus had said 10 minutes before they should run for the ranger station. It had been almost 8 minutes since they'd left the cabin. 2 more minutes and Jake would know if Marcus was coming. Or if he was dead. "Jake," Lily's voice was small. "Is Marcus okay?" "I don't know, sweetheart. But you said..." "I know what I said." Jake's voice came out harder than he meant it. He stopped, turned, looked at both girls. "I'm sorry. I don't know if Marcus is okay. I don't know if we're going to make it to the ranger station. I don't know anything for certain right now except that I'm going to do everything I can to keep you safe." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Mama used to know things. She always had a plan. Your mama was smarter than me. Then why didn't her plan work?" Emma's voice cracked. "Why is she dead if she was so smart?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Jake didn't have a good answer, didn't have any answer that wouldn't sound like a lie. "Because sometimes bad people win," Jake said quietly. "Sometimes good people do everything right and they still lose. But that doesn't mean we stop fighting. It just means we fight harder." "I'm tired of fighting," Lily whispered. "I'm just tired." Jake knelt down, ignoring the protests from his knees. I know you're tired. But your mama didn't die so you could give up. She died so you could survive. So you could be witnesses. So you could make sure the bad people face consequences." "We're 6, Emma said flatly. "What can we do? You can tell the truth. When this is over, when we get to Agent Santos, you can tell her everything you saw, everything you heard, and that truth is going to put your mama's killers in prison for the rest of their lives." "Promise?" they both asked. Jake thought about all the promises he'd made in the last 12 hours, promises he wasn't sure he could keep, promises that might get him killed. But looking at these 2 little girls, scared, exhausted, orphaned, he knew he'd make those promises 1,000 times over. "Promise," he said. "On my life." Movement in the brush behind them. Jake spun, putting himself between the girls and whatever was coming. Marcus emerged, blood streaming from a cut above his eye, limping slightly, but alive. "Marcus!" Emma shouted. "Quiet!" Marcus hissed, but he was smiling despite the blood. "They're following. 3 of them. I took out 2, but the third one called for backup. Morrison drove off before the shooting started. Coward sent his people to do the dirty work." Marcus wiped blood from his eye. "We got maybe 5 minutes before the reinforcements arrive. We need to move." "The ranger station." "Too far. They'll cut us off." Marcus pulled out a compass, checked it quickly. "There's a creek about half a mile east. We follow that downstream. It'll take us to the main road. We can flag down a civilian vehicle, get clear of this area." "And then what?" Jake asked. "Then we pray Santos is as good as her word and is on her way." Marcus looked at the girls. "You two okay to run again?" They nodded, but Jake could see they were lying. They were past exhausted, running on pure adrenaline and fear. "I'll carry one," Jake said. "You carry the other. And the evidence, I'll manage." Marcus didn't argue. He just scooped up Lily like she weighed nothing. Jake grabbed Emma, settled her against his hip, held the evidence backpack with his other hand. "Move," Marcus ordered. They ran. The creek appeared after what felt like hours, but was probably only 10 minutes. Cold water rushing over rocks loud enough to cover their sounds. Marcus jumped in first, helping Jake down with Emma. The water came up to Jake's knees, freezing cold, moving fast enough that he had to brace himself to stay upright. "Stay in the creek," Marcus said. "Dogs can't track through running water." "They have dogs?" Emma asked, her voice scared. "They will. Morrison's not stupid. He knows we're running. He'll bring everything he's got." They waded downstream, feet slipping on rocks, water soaking through their clothes. The girls were shivering within minutes. Jake could feel Emma's small body shaking against him. "How much further?" Jake asked through chattering teeth. "Another mile, maybe less." A helicopter sound cut through the air, distant but getting closer. "Down." Marcus pulled them under an overhang, pressing them against the creek bank. The helicopter passed overhead searchlight cutting through the trees. "They're not playing around," Marcus muttered. "That's not local police. That's serious hardware." "Morrison must have called in the cartel," Jake said. "He's desperate." "Good. Desperate people make mistakes." Marcus waited until the helicopter passed, then pulled them back into the creek. "Keep moving. Fast as you can." Emma wrapped her arms tighter around Jake's neck. "I'm scared." "Me too, sweetheart." "Really? Really? But being scared doesn't mean we stop. It just means we're smart enough to know we're in danger. Mama used to say brave people are just scared people who keep going." Jake felt his throat tighten. "Your mama was right about a lot of things." They kept waiting. Jake's legs were going numb from the cold. His arms ached from carrying Emma and the backpack. Behind him he could hear Marcus breathing hard, struggling with his own burden. But they kept moving. Because stopping meant dying. And dying meant those girls had no one. The creek finally opened up to a wider stream, and through the trees, Jake could see asphalt. The main road. "There," Marcus said. "We're going to wait until we see a civilian vehicle. Not a cop car, not a truck that could belong to the cartel. A civilian. Soccer mom type. Someone who's not going to be part of Morrison's network. And if they don't stop, they'll stop. You're carrying 2 little girls who look like drowned rats. They'll stop." Marcus was right. The third car that passed a minivan with a woman in her 40s driving slammed on her brakes the second she saw them stumbling out of the woods. She rolled down her window, eyes wide. "Oh my God, are you okay? Do you need help?" "Please," Jake said, and he didn't have to fake the desperation in his voice. "Our car broke down. My daughters are freezing. Can you give us a ride to the nearest town?" The woman looked at Emma and Lily, both shivering violently, and her maternal instincts overrode any caution. "Get in, quickly. I've got blankets in the back." They piled into the minivan. The woman, her name was Carol. She said immediately cranked the heat and wrapped the girls in blankets she pulled from the cargo area. "What happened?" Carol asked, pulling back onto the road. "Where's your car?" "About 2 miles back," Marcus said smoothly. "Transmission gave out. My phone's dead. We've been walking for an hour trying to find help. Carol glanced in the rearview mirror at the girls. They're so cold, we should get them to a hospital. No hospitals, Jake said quickly. Too quickly. Carol's eyes narrowed. Why not? We just need to get to town. We've got family we can call. They'll help. You're running from something, Carol said. It wasn't a question. Jake met her eyes in the mirror, saw intelligence there, suspicion, but also compassion. Please, Jake said quietly, just get us to town. That's all I'm asking. Carol was silent for a long moment. Then, who are you running from? People who want to hurt these girls. Why? Because their mother tried to stop corruption and got killed for it. And now everyone involved wants to make sure there are no witnesses. Carol's hands tightened on the steering wheel. That's quite a story. It's the truth. Can you prove it? Jake looked at Marcus, who nodded slightly. Jake pulled out the evidence backpack. Sarah Chen, investigative reporter. She documented 2 years of corruption between local police and the Northside cartel. She had photos, recordings, testimony, and they murdered her for it last night. Carol's face went pale. Sarah Chen was murdered. I read her articles. She wrote about environmental issues and corruption. And it got her killed, Emma said, her voice muffled by the blanket. They shot her in our car. We hid like Mama taught us, but we heard everything. Carol pulled the minivan over to the side of the road and turned around fully to look at the girls. You're Sarah Chen's daughters. Yes, ma'am, Lily whispered. Carol's eyes filled with tears. Your mother was a hero. She exposed companies that were poisoning water supplies. She took on powerful people who thought they were untouchable. And now she's dead because of it, Emma said flatly. And the police want us dead too because we're witnesses. Not the police, Jake corrected. Corrupt police. There's a difference. Carol looked at Marcus. And you, former military, helping protect these girls until we can get them to someone who can actually do something with Sarah's evidence. Who? FBI agent Rebecca Santos. She's on her way, but we need to stay alive long enough to meet her. Carol stared at them for a long moment. Then she put the minivan back in gear. I'm taking you to my sister's house. She's a lawyer. She'll know what to do. That's not necessary, Jake started. It absolutely is necessary. You think you can just wander into town with 2 traumatized children and a backpack full of evidence against corrupt cops? They're watching the roads. They're watching the bus stations. They're watching everything. Carol's voice was firm. You need a safe place to wait for your FBI agent. My sister's house is 20 minutes from here, off the main road. No one will think to look there. Marcus looked at Jake. Your call. Jake looked at Emma and Lily, still shivering despite the blankets and heat. They'd been running for hours. They needed rest, needed food, needed safety, even if it was temporary. Okay, Jake said. Thank you. Carol drove fast but careful, checking her mirrors constantly. Tell me about Agent Santos. How do you know she's legitimate? We don't, Jake admitted. Not for certain, but Sarah Chen was willing to work with her. That's good enough for us. And if you're wrong, if Santos is corrupt too, then we're screwed. But we're screwed anyway if we don't take the chance. Carol nodded slowly. My sister, her name is Patricia. She works in civil rights law. She's taken on police departments before. She'll know how to verify if Santos is clean. We don't have time for verification, Marcus said. Morrison's got people looking for us. Every minute we waste is a minute closer to them finding us. Then my sister better work fast. Carol turned onto a side road, then another, navigating through residential neighborhoods. How did you even find these girls? Jake told her the story. The gas station, the dumpster, the mother's body in the car. Emma and Lily listening silently, tears running down their faces as they heard their trauma recounted to a stranger. When he finished, Carol was crying too. Those poor babies. And you just picked them up and ran. What else was I supposed to do? Most people would have called the cops and walked away. The cops are the problem. Not all cops. Enough of them. Jake's voice was hard. Enough that I couldn't take the chance. Carol pulled into a driveway. Small house, well-maintained, flowers in the front yard. Safe. Normal. Everything these girls hadn't had since last night. A woman came out onto the porch, late 40s, professional looking, even in casual clothes, carrying herself with the confidence of someone used to courtrooms and arguments. Carol. What's going on? Then she saw the passengers. Who are these people? Carol got out quickly, went to her sister, spoke in low, urgent tones. Patricia's face went through a series of expressions: confusion, disbelief, anger, determination. She walked to the minivan and looked inside. Her eyes went straight to Emma and Lily. "You're Sarah Chen's daughters," Patricia said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, ma'am," Emma answered. "I met your mother once, at a press conference about water contamination. She was brilliant, fierce. She cared about truth more than safety." Patricia's voice softened. "I'm so sorry for your loss." Lily started crying. Emma wrapped her arms around her sister. Patricia looked at Jake. "You're the one protecting them." "Yes." "Why?" "Because someone had to." Patricia studied him for a long moment. Then she looked at Marcus. "Former military, Delta Force. And you're trusting an FBI agent you've never met to save these girls." "We're trusting that a good woman died trying to expose corruption, and that somewhere in this broken system, there are still people who care about justice." Patricia smiled slightly. "You sound like a defense attorney." "I sound like someone who's tired of watching bad people win." "Fair enough. Come inside, all of you. We need to make a plan before Morrison's people figure out where you are." They went inside. Patricia immediately got Emma and Lily into dry clothes, her own daughter's clothes from when she was younger. Got them hot chocolate and sandwiches. Got them settled on the couch with blankets. Then she, Carol, Jake, and Marcus gathered in the kitchen. "Show me the evidence," Patricia said. Jake handed over the backpack. Patricia went through it methodically, the notebook, the recorder, the photographs. Her expression grew darker with every page. "This is federal RICO case material," Patricia said quietly. "This is conspiracy, racketeering, murder, drug trafficking. This is decades in prison for everyone involved." "If we can get it to someone who'll actually prosecute," Jake said. "Tell me about Agent Santos." Marcus explained what he knew. Santos's history with the DEA, her transfer to the FBI, her years trying to investigate the cartel but being blocked by local law enforcement. Patricia pulled out her laptop. "Give me 20 minutes. I have contacts in federal law enforcement. I can verify if she's legitimate." While Patricia worked, Carol made more food. Jake and Marcus took turns watching out the windows. Emma and Lily fell asleep on the couch, exhausted beyond anything sleep could fully fix. Jake watched them sleep and felt that familiar tightness in his chest. Less than 24 hours ago, these girls had a mother, had a normal life, had safety and love and everything children were supposed to have. Now they had him, a former outlaw with no idea how to be a father, a man who'd spent his whole life running from responsibility. "You're good with them," Carol said quietly, appearing beside him with coffee. "I don't know what I'm doing." "None of us do. That's the secret of parenting. We're all just making it up as we go." "I'm not their parent." "Aren't you?" Carol looked at the sleeping girls. "You saved them, protected them, promised to keep them safe. That sounds like parenting to me." Their mother is gone, and those girls need someone now, someone who cares enough to fight for them. Looks like that's you. Jake didn't have an answer for that, so he just sipped his coffee and watched Emma and Lily sleep, and prayed they'd survive long enough to have a real childhood again. Patricia came back 20 minutes later. "Agent Rebecca Santos is legitimate, squeaky clean record, multiple commendations. She's made a career of going after corrupt cops and cartel operations. If anyone can protect those girls and use Sarah's evidence, it's her." "Where is she now?" Marcus asked. "According to my contact, she's about 90 minutes away. She's been trying to reach Jake's phone, but it's offline. I threw it away. Morrison was tracking it even when it was powered down." "Smart. But it means Santos doesn't know where you are." Patricia pulled out her own phone. "I'm going to call her. Give her this address. Tell her to bring backup. Real backup federal agents she personally trusts. Because the second Morrison figures out where you are, he's coming with everything he's got. Do it, Jake said. Patricia made the call. Put it on speaker. Santos. Agent Santos, my name is Patricia Alvarez. I'm a civil rights attorney. I have Jake Morrison, Marcus Webb, and Sarah Chen's daughters at my house. A pause. How did you verify it's really them? I saw Sarah's evidence. Notebook recordings, photographs. It's all here. And the girls? Asleep on my couch, exhausted, traumatized, but alive. Keep them that way. I'm an hour out. I've got 3 other agents with me, all people I trust completely. We're going to secure that evidence, take statements from the girls, and move them to federal protective custody. What about Morrison? Jake called out. He's hunting us. He's got cartel resources. He's not going to just give up. He won't have a choice. The second I have that evidence officially in FBI custody, I'm moving on arrest warrants. Morrison Ruiz, every cop and cartel member Sarah Chen documented. They'll all be in custody by tonight. That fast? Marcus asked skeptically. I've been building parallel investigations for 2 years. I just couldn't make anything stick because local law enforcement kept blocking me. Sarah's evidence is the missing piece. With her documentation, I can move immediately. By midnight tonight, everyone involved in this corruption ring will be facing federal charges. Jake felt something he hadn't felt in hours. Hope. 1 hour, Santos said. Keep those girls safe for 1 more hour. Can you do that? Yes, Jake said firmly. Good. Because those girls are the bravest witnesses I've ever had. And I'm going to make damn sure their mother's death wasn't in vain. The call ended. Patricia looked at all of them. 1 hour. We can do this. Morrison's probably already figured out we're not at the cabin, Marcus said. He's searching. It's only a matter of time before he expands his search radius to include this neighborhood. Then we prepare, Carol said. Lock the doors. Close the blinds. Stay away from windows. They did. The house became a fortress. Small, fragile, but determined. Emma woke up after 30 minutes. Where are we? Safe house, Jake said, sitting beside her. FBI agent is coming. Another 40 minutes. And then what? Then you tell her everything you remember, everything you saw and heard, and she uses that to put the bad people in prison. What about you? Emma asked quietly. What happens to you? Jake hadn't thought that far ahead, hadn't considered a future beyond keeping these girls alive. I don't know, he admitted. Are you going back to the motorcycle people? I don't think so. I gave up my colors, walked away from the club. So you don't have a family either? The question hit him like a punch. I guess not. Emma looked at him with those 2 wise eyes. Mama used to say family isn't just blood. It's who shows up when things get hard. Your mama was smart. You showed up for us when things got really, really hard. Doesn't that make you family? Jake felt his eyes burning. I suppose it does. Good. Emma settled back against the couch. Because Lily and I decided, if we can't have Mama, then we want you. Emma, I know you're not our dad. I know you're just some motorcycle person who found us at a gas station. But you kept your promises. You didn't leave us. Even when the bad people came. Even when you could have run away and been safe. Emma's voice cracked. So if you don't want us, that's okay. We understand. But if you do want us, if you want to be our family, we want that too. Jake couldn't speak, couldn't move, could barely breathe. Lily woke up and looked at her sister. Did you ask him? Yeah. What did he say? He didn't say anything yet. Both girls looked at Jake, waiting. And Jake Morrison, 42 years old, former Hells Angels rider man who'd spent his entire life avoiding commitment and responsibility, realized something profound. He wanted this, wanted these girls, wanted to be the person they believed he was. Yeah, Jake said, his voice rough with emotion. Yeah, I want to be your family. Emma smiled. Actually smiled. First real smile he'd seen from her. Good, she said simply, because you're stuck with us now. Lily giggled, actually giggled. The sound was so unexpected, so pure, that everyone in the room smiled. Then Marcus, standing at the window, went rigid. We've got company. 2 black SUVs pulled up outside. Not police vehicles, not FBI. Unmarked, windows tinted. Cartel. Back room, Patricia ordered. Now. Carol, call 911. Tell them we have home invaders. That won't help, Jake said. Morrison controls the local response. I'm calling anyway, on record. If something happens here, there's a record that we called for help and it didn't come. Marcus pulled his gun. How many exits? Front door, back door, basement window. Patricia said quickly. But the back door leads to a fenced yard. No easy escape. Then we hold them here. They want the girls alive, remember? They need to silence them, but they also need to know what evidence Sarah passed on. That gives us leverage. The SUV's doors opened. 6 men got out. Armed, professional, not cops pretending to be federal agents, real cartel soldiers. And they were walking straight toward the house. Jake pulled Emma and Lily close. Whatever happens, you stay with Patricia and Carol. You don't come out until Marcus or I tell you it's safe. Understand? But, Emma started. No buts. This is the part where you survive. Remember, that's your job. Survive and be witnesses. A knock on the door. Polite, almost friendly. We know you're in there, a voice called, accented, calm. We know you have the Chen girls. We know you have evidence. We're not here to hurt anyone. We just want to talk. Talking with you got Sarah Chen killed, Marcus called back. Sarah Chen died because she was careless. You don't have to make the same mistake. Send out the girls and the evidence and everyone walks away. Not happening. A pause. Then, you have children in there. You really want them to watch more people die. Jake looked at Emma and Lily. They were crying silently, holding each other. He thought about Sarah Chen dying in her car, using her last moments to save her daughters. He thought about the last 24 hours. Everything he'd sacrificed. Everything he'd fought for. And he knew, absolutely knew, that he wasn't giving up these girls. Not for anything. Come and take them, Jake called back. If you can. The response was immediate. Gunfire shattered the front windows, and the real battle began. Marcus returned fire immediately, dropping behind the couch. Glass exploded inward. Emma and Lily screamed. Patricia grabbed both girls and pulled them toward the back bedroom, Carol right behind her. Stay down, Jake shouted, pulling out the knife from his belt. It wasn't much against automatic weapons, but it was all he had. Another burst of gunfire ripped through the living room. Bullets tore through walls, through furniture, through everything. Marcus fired back 3 times precise shots, and Jake heard someone outside scream. 1 down, Marcus called. 5 to go. Jake, you armed? Just a knife. There's a shotgun in Patricia's hall closet. I saw it when we came in. Jake scrambled across the floor glass, cutting his hands, and found the closet. The shotgun was there. Old Remington looked like it hadn't been fired in years, but loaded. He checked the chamber. 5 shells. Better than a knife. He crawled back to Marcus's position. How long can we hold them? Depends how much ammo they brought. But they're not stupid. They're not going to rush us. They're going to pin us down and wait us out. Santos is 40 minutes away. 40 minutes is a lifetime in a firefight. Marcus fired again. Another scream outside. 2 down, but they're spreading out, trying to flank us. From the bedroom, Jake heard Emma crying. I want Jake, I want Jake. You stay with Patricia, Jake shouted back. You hear me? You stay in that room. But, no buts. You promised you'd survive. You promised. The gunfire stopped. Sudden silence that was somehow worse than the noise. They're regrouping, Marcus said quietly. Getting ready for a real push. Jake's hands were shaking. Not from fear, though there was plenty of that, but from rage. These men had killed Sarah Chen, had hunted 2 little girls, had turned Jake's entire world upside down in less than 24 hours. And now they were here shooting up a lawyer's house, terrorizing two kids who'd already lost everything. "I'm done running," Jake said. Marcus looked at him. "What?" "I said I'm done running. These girls deserve better than spending the rest of their childhood looking over their shoulders. They deserve justice. They deserve peace. And the only way they get that is if we end this. Right now. Right here." "Jake, there's 4 of them out there with automatic weapons." "I don't care." Jake checked the shotgun again. "You got a back door?" "Yeah, but..." "Cover me. I'm going out." "That's suicide. It's the only way. They're focused on the front. If I can get behind them, take out 1 or 2 before they realize what's happening, we've got a chance." Marcus stared at him for a long moment. Then he smiled grimly. "You're crazy. You know that. Been told that before. All right. Give me 30 seconds to lay down cover fire. Then you move. Fast as you can. And Jake, try not to die. Those girls need you." "That's the plan." Marcus positioned himself at the window and started firing. Controlled bursts, keeping the cartel soldiers pinned down, focused on the front of the house. Jake moved to the back door. His heart was pounding so hard he could feel it in his throat. This was insane. This was probably going to get him killed. But Emma's voice echoed in his head. "You showed up when things got really hard. Doesn't that make you family?" "Yeah, it did." Jake opened the back door and slipped out. The yard was small fenced, but there was a gate leading to the neighbor's property. Jake moved quickly, staying low, the shotgun ready. He could hear Marcus still firing from inside, could hear the cartel soldiers shouting to each other in Spanish. He reached the fence and looked over. One of the soldiers was positioned behind a car focused entirely on the house, his back to Jake. Jake climbed the fence as quietly as he could, dropped down on the other side, moved forward step by careful step. The soldier never heard him coming. Jake brought the shotgun up. "Drop it." The soldier spun. Jake fired. The blast was deafening. The soldier went down. 3 left. But now they knew he was out here. "Behind us," someone shouted. "He's behind us." Bullets tore through the air around Jake. He dove behind a brick mailbox, felt chunks of brick explode over his head, fired back blindly, heard someone curse. Then a new sound cut through the chaos. Sirens, multiple sirens, getting closer. The cartel soldiers heard it too. "Police," one of them shouted. "We need to go, now." "What about the girls?" "Forget the girls, we're leaving." Doors slamming, engines starting. The 2 remaining SUVs tore out of the driveway and disappeared down the street. The sirens got louder. 3 patrol cars pulled up. Officers poured out, weapons drawn. "Drop your weapons," one of them shouted. "Hands where I can see them." Jake set down the shotgun carefully and raised his hands. Marcus did the same inside the house, stepping out through the bullet-riddled front door. "We're the victims here," Marcus called out. "We were defending ourselves from a cartel attack." One of the officers approached cautiously. Young guy, maybe 25, looking scared and confused. "Anyone hurt?" "Just the attackers. We need to speak to FBI agent Rebecca Santos. She's en route." "FBI? What the hell is going on here?" Before anyone could answer, another vehicle pulled up. Black sedan, federal plates. Agent Rebecca Santos stepped out, flanked by 3 other agents in tactical gear. She was mid-40s, Hispanic, with intelligent eyes that took in the scene instantly. The bullet holes, the broken windows, the bodies in the street. "I'm Agent Santos, FBI. This is now a federal crime scene. Everyone stand down." The local officers looked confused, but backed off. Santos walked straight to Jake. "You Jake Morrison?" "Yeah." "Where are the Chen girls?" "Inside, safe, with the lawyer who helped us." Santos nodded. "Good. Keep them there. My team needs to secure this scene, and then we're getting everyone out of here before Morrison sends more people." One of the local officers stepped forward. "Agent Santos, with all due respect, this is our jurisdiction." "Not anymore. This is part of an ongoing federal investigation into corruption and drug trafficking. Anyone who interferes is going to be charged with obstruction." Santos's voice was steel. "That clear enough?" The officer backed down. Santos turned back to Jake. "You've had one hell of a day." That's putting it mildly. The evidence. You still have it. Inside. All of it. Notebook recordings, photographs. Everything Sarah Chen compiled. Santos's expression softened slightly. Sarah was a good woman. Brilliant reporter. She didn't deserve what happened to her. No, she didn't. But her daughters deserve justice. They're going to get it. I promise you that. Santos gestured to her team. Secure the perimeter. I want statements from everyone. And someone get those girls out here so I can see they're okay. Patricia emerged from the house, Emma and Lily clutching her hands. Both girls' eyes were wide with fear and shock. When they saw Jake, they broke free and ran to him. Jake knelt down and caught them. They wrapped their arms around his neck and held on like they'd never let go. You're okay, Emma sobbed. You're okay. I told you I'd keep you safe, Jake said, his voice rough. I keep my promises. Santos watched this interaction, and Jake saw something shift in her expression. Understanding. Maybe even approval. Girls, Santos said gently, crouching down to their level. My name is Rebecca. I'm with the FBI. I knew your mother. She was trying very hard to stop bad people from hurting others. And I'm going to make sure her work wasn't for nothing. Emma wiped her eyes. Are you going to catch the people who killed her? Yes. Every single one of them. But I need your help. I need you to tell me everything you remember from that night. Everything you saw and heard. Can you do that? Both girls looked at Jake. Checking, making sure he thought this was okay. It's safe, Jake said. Agent Santos is one of the good guys. You can trust her. Okay, Lily whispered. We'll tell you everything. Santos stood up. Good. But not here. This scene isn't secure enough. We're moving you to a federal safe house. All of you. Jake, Marcus, the girls, even Patricia and Carol. You're all witnesses now. You're all under federal protection until we can make arrests. How long will that take? Marcus asked. Hours, not days. With Sarah's evidence, I can move immediately on arrest warrants. Chief Morrison, Hector Ruiz, every cop and cartel member she documented, they'll all be in custody by tonight. Morrison's not going to go quietly, Jake said. I'm counting on it. The more noise he makes, the more evidence we collect. This isn't just about him anymore. This is about dismantling an entire corruption network. Santos pulled out her phone. I need to make some calls. Get my team, we're moving these people now. 20 minutes later, they were in a convoy of federal vehicles heading toward Sacramento. Emma and Lily sat in the back seat with Jake, both girls pressed against him, still scared, still processing everything that had happened. Carol and Patricia were in another vehicle with 2 agents. Marcus rode up front with Santos. Where are we going exactly? Jake asked. Santos glanced back. Federal building in Sacramento. We've got secure interview rooms, protective custody facilities, everything we need. You'll be safe there while we process the evidence and make arrests. And after that, we'll need the girls to testify. Grand jury first, then trial if it goes that far, but we'll protect them every step of the way. That's my job. Emma spoke up quietly. What about Jake? What happens to him? Santos looked at Jake in the rearview mirror. That's a good question. Jake, you understand you're a witness in a federal case. You'll need to provide testimony. But beyond that, she paused. You're not under arrest. You didn't commit any crimes. You saved 2 children and protected crucial evidence. In my book, that makes you a hero. I'm not a hero, Jake said. I just did what anyone should have done. Most people wouldn't have. Most people would have called it in and walked away. You didn't. Santos's voice softened. Those girls are lucky you found them. I'm lucky I found them, Jake said, and he meant it. Meant it in a way that surprised him. Lily looked up at him. Really? Really? You 2 are the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Emma smiled. Not a big smile, but real. You're the best thing that's happened to us too, since Mama. Jake felt his throat tighten. He pulled both girls closer and didn't say anything. Didn't need to. Some things went beyond words. They reached Sacramento 90 minutes later. The federal building was exactly what Jake expected, imposing, secure, designed to keep people safe. Santos's team moved them inside quickly, through secure corridors into a wing reserved for protected witnesses. Girls, Santos said, I need to talk to you separately, just for a little while. Jake can be in the room with you if that makes you more comfortable. Yes, Emma said immediately. We want Jake there. Then that's how we'll do it. Come with me. She led them to an interview room. Comfortable chairs, a table, recording equipment visible, but not intrusive. Nothing like the interrogation rooms Jake had seen in movies. This was designed to make people feel safe. Santos sat across from them. A female agent Jake didn't know sat beside her, introduced as Agent Maria Chen. No relation to Sarah, but the coincidence made Emma and Lily smile slightly. Okay, Santos said gently. I need you to tell me everything you remember from the night your mother died. Start from the beginning. Take your time. If you need a break, just say so. Emma and Lily looked at each other. Then Emma took a deep breath and began. We were at home. Mama was working in her office like always. She worked a lot at night because she said that's when she could think clearly. Lily and I were supposed to be asleep, but we were playing quietly in our room. Lily continued. Then Mama came in really fast. She looked scared. She said we needed to leave right now. She gave us the purple backpack and said if anything bad happened, we should take it and run and hide. Did she say what the bad thing might be? Santos asked. She said the people she was investigating might have found out what she was doing. She said they might try to hurt her to stop her from telling the truth. Emma's voice shook. She said we were the most important thing in the world, and she needed us to be brave. Jake's hand tightened on the table. Santos noticed, but didn't say anything. Emma continued. We got in the car. Mama was driving really fast. She kept checking the mirror. Then she said someone was following us. She pulled off the highway onto a side road, told us to hide in the back under the blankets like we'd practiced. You'd practiced? Santos asked. Mama made it into a game, Lily explained. She called it the quiet game. We had to hide under the blankets and stay completely silent no matter what happened. The one who stayed quiet the longest won. Jake felt sick. Sarah Chen had known this might happen, had prepared her daughters for her own murder by turning it into a game. So we hid, Emma said, tears streaming down her face now. We hid, and we heard Mama talking to someone. A man. He said she needed to give him the evidence or things would get bad. Mama said she didn't have it with her, that it was somewhere safe. He didn't believe her. Lily was sobbing now. Then we heard the gunshots, so many gunshots. And Mama made a sound, and then she didn't say anything else, and the man was cursing and telling someone on the phone that the evidence wasn't in the car and they needed to find it. Did you see the man who shot her? Santos asked. Both girls shook their heads. We stayed under the blanket like Mama said. We stayed quiet. We heard him searching the car. He opened the back door, but he didn't see us under the blankets. Then he left. He just left Mama there and drove away. Emma's voice dropped to barely a whisper. We waited a long time. Then we got out and tried to wake Mama up, but she wouldn't wake up and there was so much blood and we were so scared. She couldn't continue. Both girls were crying too hard. Jake pulled them close. That's enough. They've told you what happened. They don't need to relive it anymore right now. Santos nodded. You're right. Girls, you were incredibly brave. You did exactly what your mother told you to do, and because of that, we're going to catch the people who hurt her. I promise you that. You keep saying that, Emma said through her tears. Everyone keeps promising things, but promises don't bring Mama back. Promises don't make us not scared anymore. Santos stood up and came around the table. She knelt in front of the girls, meeting them at eye level. You're right. Promises don't bring your mother back. Nothing can do that, and I'm so sorry. But promises are all we have sometimes. They're how we show people we care, how we commit to doing better, how we honor the people we've lost. She looked at both girls seriously. Your mother made me a promise 6 months ago. She said if anything happened to her, she wanted me to make sure her daughters were safe and that her work mattered. I couldn't save your mother, but I can keep her promise. I can keep you safe, and I can make sure every person who hurt her faces justice. And I will. On my life, I will. Emma searched Santos's face, looking for lies, looking for false comfort. But whatever she saw there must have satisfied her because she nodded slowly. Okay, we believe you. Good. Now I need to talk to Jake alone for a few minutes. Agent Chen is going to take you to another room where there's food and comfortable places to sit. Is that okay? The girls looked at Jake. You'll come find us. The second we're done talking, I promise. You keep your promises, Lily said. Not a question, a statement of fact. Always, Jake said. Agent Chen led the girls out. The moment the door closed, Santos turned to Jake. Okay, now the hard part. We need to talk about you. What about me? Your relationship to Chief Morrison, your connection to the Hells Angels, your role in all this. I need the full story, Jake. No editing, no protecting yourself. Just the truth. So Jake told her everything. The gas station, his cousin's history of violence, walking away from this club, the cabin, Marcus, the siege at Patricia's house, everything. When he finished, Santos was quiet for a long moment. You gave up everything, she finally said. Your club, your colors, your entire life. For 2 kids you didn't know. Yeah. Why? Because they needed help. Because their mother died trying to do the right thing. Because... Jake stopped, thought about how to put it into words. Because I spent 20 years running from anything that made me feel, anything that made me vulnerable. And then I found these 2 little girls and suddenly all that running seemed stupid, cowardly. They made me want to be better than I've ever been. Santos smiled. That's called being a parent. I'm not their parent. Aren't you? You protected them, kept your promises, put their needs above your own safety. That's exactly what a parent does. Santos leaned forward. Those girls love you. You realize that, right? In less than 24 hours, they've bonded to you completely, and you've bonded to them, whether you want to admit it or not. Jake didn't know what to say to that. Santos continued. So here's what happens next. We process the evidence. We make arrests. We build an airtight case. That takes maybe 48 hours. Then we need the girls to testify to a grand jury. After that, there's a trial, probably multiple trials. That could take months, maybe years. What happens to Emma and Lily during all that time? Normally, they'd go into foster care while we located next of kin. But Sarah Chen had no living relatives except a brother who's serving overseas and can't take custody right now. So the girls would be placed with a foster family. Probably get split up if we can't find someone who can take twins. They'd move around a lot. Different schools, different homes, different people who don't understand their trauma. Jake felt something cold settle in his stomach. You can't split them up. They've lost enough. I agree, which is why I'm asking you, what do you want to happen to them? What do I want? I'm not family. I don't have any legal standing. You could, if you petitioned for guardianship. Temporary at first, then permanent if it worked out. It's not common, but it happens, especially when children have formed strong attachments to their rescuer. Jake stared at her. You're saying I could adopt them? I'm saying you could try. It would take time. Background checks, home studies, court hearings. The Hells Angels connection would complicate things. But you're not a criminal. You've never been arrested. You're a witness in good standing helping with a federal investigation. And most importantly, those girls want to stay with you. They're 6 years old. They don't know what they want. They know they want someone who keeps his promises. Someone who fights for them. Someone who makes them feel safe. Santos's voice softened. They want you, Jake. Question is, do you want them? Jake thought about the last 24 hours. The terror. The gunfights. The constant running. But he also thought about Emma falling asleep against his chest on the motorcycle. About Lily saying he was family. About both of them trusting him completely even when they had no reason to. He thought about what his life would be if he walked away. Back to the cabin. Back to being alone. Back to running from anything that made him feel. And he knew he couldn't do it. Couldn't leave them. Yeah, Jake said quietly. I want them. I don't know how to be a father. Don't know anything about raising kids. but I want to try. Santos smiled. That's all any parent can do. Try. So what now? Now we finish this case. We put Morrison and his people away. We keep Emma and Lily safe. And then we start the process of making you a family. Officially. Legally. Permanently. She stood up and extended her hand. Welcome to parenthood, Jake Morrison. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. Jake shook her hand. Good. I'm tired of things being easy. Santos laughed. You're going to fit right in. Come on. Let's go tell the girls they're stuck with you. They found Emma and Lily in a comfortable room with Agent Chen. The girls were eating cookies, but jumped up the moment Jake walked in. Everything okay? Emma asked anxiously. Everything's okay, Jake said. He looked at Santos, who nodded encouragingly. Actually, better than okay. Agent Santos and I were talking and... He paused, took a breath. How would you two feel about staying with me, not just for now, for real, like family? Both girls went very still. You mean like adoption? Emma asked carefully. Eventually, if you want. First, it would be guardianship, like a trial run. But yeah, if it works out, adoption. You'd be Emma Morrison and Lily Morrison. You'd live with me. I'd take care of you. We'd be a real family. Lily's eyes filled with tears. You want to be our dad? Jake felt his own eyes burning. Yeah, sweetheart, I want to be your dad, if you'll have me. Both girls looked at each other. That twin communication again. Then they launched themselves at Jake, wrapping their arms around him, holding on tight. Yes, Emma said. Yes, yes, yes. We want you, Lily added. We want you so much. Jake held them and felt something break open in his chest. Something that had been frozen for 42 years. Something that hurt and healed at the same time. He was going to be a father. He was going to have a family. And for the first time in his entire life, Jake Morrison wasn't running from anything. He was running towards something better. Santos watched this scene and smiled. Then she stepped out to give them privacy and pulled out her phone. She had arrest warrants to execute, a corrupt police chief to take down, and a promise to keep to a woman who died trying to do the right thing. Sarah Chen's daughters would get justice, and they'd get something else too. They'd get a father who loved them. Sometimes Santos thought even in the darkest moments there were small miracles. This was one of them. Santos made her first call while walking down the hallway, her voice sharp and professional. I need tactical teams at the following locations immediately. Chief Martin Morrison's home, his office, and the North Side Cartel headquarters. I want simultaneous raids. No warnings, no leaks. We move in 1 hour. Jake could hear her through the open door. He held Emma and Lily closer, feeling their small bodies pressed against him. They were still crying, but it was different now. Not the desperate sobs of orphaned children. Something else. Relief, maybe. Hope. Are you really going to be our dad? Lily whispered against his chest. If you'll let me. What if you change your mind? Emma asked. Her voice was small, scared. What if you wake up tomorrow and decide you don't want us anymore? Jake pulled back so he could look at both of them. Listen to me. Both of you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not changing my mind. You're stuck with me now, just like I'm stuck with you. That's what family means. You don't get to quit when things get hard. But what if we're bad? Lily asked. What if we make you mad or we do something wrong? Then I'll be mad and you'll be in trouble and we'll work through it together. That's what families do. They fight sometimes. They mess up. But they don't abandon each other. Ever. You understand? Both girls nodded, but Jake could see they didn't quite believe it yet. They'd lost too much in the last 24 hours. Trust didn't come easy anymore. That was okay. Jake would prove it to them. Day by day, week by week, however long it took. Agent Chen cleared her throat from the doorway. Sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here who wants to see you. All of you. Marcus stepped into the room, his face cleaned up, the cut above his eye stitched and bandaged. He smiled when he saw the girls. Hey, warriors, you holding up okay? Marcus. Emma ran to him, Lily right behind her. You're okay. Takes more than a few cartel soldiers to take me down. Marcus hugged them both. I heard the news. Jake's gonna be your dad. That's pretty great. You think so? Lily asked. I know so. Jake's one of the good ones. He'll take care of you. Will you stay too? Emma asked hopefully. Will you be part of our family? Marcus looked at Jake over the girls' heads. Something passed between them. Understanding, respect, brotherhood of a different kind than the Hells Angels. I'll be around, Marcus said. Not living with you guys, I'm not much of a family man, but I'll visit. Make sure Jake's not screwing things up too badly. And if you ever need someone to teach you how to fight or handle yourself in dangerous situations, I'm your guy. No fighting, Jake said immediately. They're 6 years old. They're 6 years old who just survived a cartel hit squad. They need to know how to protect themselves. When they're older, maybe. We'll see. Marcus grinned. He's already sounding like a dad. Worrying too much. Saying no to everything fun. The girls giggled. Actually giggled. The sound was so unexpected, so pure, that both men just stared for a moment. We made you laugh, Marcus said softly. First time I've heard that sound. Mama used to make us laugh all the time. Emma said, her smile fading. She was funny. She'd make silly voices when she read us stories. She'd dance around the kitchen making breakfast. Emma stopped, tears flooding back. Jake knelt down. Tell me about her. Tell me everything. I want to know who your mama was. Why? Lily asked. Because she was important. Because she's part of who you are. And because I want to make sure you never forget her. Emma wiped her eyes. Really? You want to hear about Mama? Every story you want to tell. Today, tomorrow, whenever you need to remember her. I want to hear it all. The girls looked at each other, then back at Jake. And something in their eyes changed. Not all the fear gone that would take time, but a little less lost, a little more anchored. Santos came back in phone still in her hand. We're moving in 30 minutes. Jake, Marcus, I need you both to stay here with the girls while my team executes the warrants. We're taking down Morrison Ruiz and 15 other targets simultaneously. What about the cops who are clean? Jake asked. The ones who aren't on Morrison's payroll. I've been working with internal affairs quietly for months. We know who's dirty and who's not. The clean cops are being briefed as we speak. Some of them will be part of the raid teams. They deserve to be there when we take down the corruption in their department. Morrison won't go peacefully. I'm counting on it. The more he resists, the more charges we can pile on. Santos's smile was cold. Your cousin picked the wrong people to victimize. Sarah Chen documented everything. The recordings alone are enough to put him away for multiple life sentences. Add in the murder, the drug trafficking, the conspiracy charges, he'll never see daylight again. Good, Jake said quietly. He doesn't deserve it. No, he doesn't. Santos looked at the girls. Emma, Lily. Can you be brave one more time for me? What do you need? Emma asked. I need you to record a video statement, explaining what happened that night. What you heard, what you saw, what your mother told you. It'll be shown to the grand jury and eventually at trial. Can you do that? Both girls looked scared, but they nodded. Jake can be in the room with you, Santos added, and Agent Chen. We'll make it as comfortable as possible, but this is important. This is how we make sure the bad people can't hurt anyone else. Okay, Emma said. We'll do it. For Mama. 20 minutes later, Emma and Lily sat in front of a camera with Jake beside them. Agent Chen operated the equipment. Santos asked gentle questions and the girls answered. Their voices shook. They cried, but they told the truth. Every terrible moment, every gunshot, every second of terror hiding under those blankets. When it was over, Santos stopped the recording and came around to hug both girls. You were so brave. Your mother would be so proud of you. Will this really help? Lily asked. Will it really put the bad people in jail? Yes. This testimony combined with your mother's evidence is going to change everything. Not just for this case. For every case where corrupt officials think they're above the law. You're making the world safer, just like your mother tried to do. Emma looked up at Jake. Are you proud of us too? Jake's throat was too tight to speak for a moment. He just nodded and pulled them close. His phone rang. The new one Santos had given him. He checked the screen. Bear McKenzie. Jake stepped into the hallway to answer. Bear? Diesel. Heard you're alive. Also heard you took down half a cartel hit squad. Marcus did most of the work. Still, that's impressive. Bear paused. Look, brother, I know you turned in your colors. I know you walked away. But the vote, that was bullshit. Most of us knew it even as we were doing it. We were scared. Morrison had us over a barrel with his threats and his connections. We took the coward's way out. You did what you had to do to protect the club. Maybe. But it was still wrong. And I want you to know, off the record, man to man, I'm proud of what you did. You saved those kids. You stood up to corruption. You did what we always said the club was about. Brotherhood. Protection. Standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves. Jake felt something loosen in his chest. Thanks, Bear. That means a lot. The club's going to go through some changes. After Morrison gets arrested and all this comes out, we're going to have some hard conversations about who we are and what we stand for. And when that happens, when we figure out our new direction, I'd like you to come talk to us, not as a member, as family, because you'll always be family colors or no colors. I'll think about it. That's all I'm asking. And Diesel, those girls are lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have them. Bear hung up. Jake stood in the hallway for a moment processing. He wasn't going back to the Hells Angels. That life was over. But knowing he still had Bear's respect, knowing the brotherhood wasn't completely severed, that mattered. He went back inside. Emma and Lily were eating sandwiches Agent Chen had brought them. They looked exhausted, but calmer. Everything okay? Emma asked. Everything's fine. That was an old friend. He wanted to make sure you two were safe. Do you have a lot of friends? A few. Good ones. The kind who show up when you need them. Like Marcus. Yeah, like Marcus. Lily finished her sandwich and yawned. I'm tired. Me too, Emma admitted. Santos came over. There's a room set up for you. 2 beds, bathroom, everything you need. You should rest while we execute the warrants. It's going to be a long night. Jake took the girls to the room Santos indicated. It was simple but comfortable. Safe. The girls changed into pajamas. Agent Chen had somehow procured pink, like the ones they'd been wearing when Jake found them. A small kindness that made Emma's eyes fill with tears. Mama bought us these exact ones, she whispered. Jake tucked them both into bed. They held hands across the gap between beds, still needing that connection. Jake, Lily said, will you stay until we fall asleep? Of course. And when we wake up, will you still be here? I'll be right outside. I'm not going anywhere. Promise. Promise. He sat in the chair between their beds and watched them fight sleep. Their eyes kept closing, then flying open again, checking to make sure he was still there. Tell us a story, Emma said. Mama always told us stories before bed. Jake wasn't good at stories, wasn't good at this whole parent thing, but he tried. Once upon a time, there were 2 brave princesses named Emma and Lily. They lived in a beautiful castle with their mother, the queen, who was the smartest and bravest person in the whole kingdom. Both girls smiled. One day, the queen discovered that some of the knights who were supposed to protect people were actually working for an evil dragon. These bad knights were helping the dragon hurt innocent people. The queen knew she had to stop them, even though it was dangerous. Jake's voice grew softer. So the queen gathered evidence. She wrote everything down. She recorded the bad knights' confessions. She was very careful and very brave, but the bad knights found out what she was doing. Emma's hand tightened on Lily's. Both girls were crying silently now. The queen knew they were coming for her, so she made a plan to protect her daughters. She taught them how to hide, how to stay quiet, how to survive. Because the queen loved her daughters more than anything in the world, more than her own life. Jake had to stop for a moment. His own voice was shaking. The bad nights came. And the queen fought to protect her daughters until her very last breath. She made sure they escaped, made sure they survived, made sure her work would continue even after she was gone. And then what happened? Lily whispered. Then a warrior found the princesses, a man who'd spent his whole life running from responsibility. But when he saw these two brave little girls who needed help, he couldn't run anymore. He decided to protect them, to fight for them, to be the family they needed. Did the warrior defeat the bad knights? Emma asked. Not alone, but with the help of other good people, a soldier, an FBI agent, brave lawyers. They defeated the dragon and the bad knights. They made sure the queen's sacrifice meant something. They made sure the kingdom was safe again. Jake looked at both girls, and the princesses and the warrior became a family. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. Because sometimes the best families aren't the ones you're born into. They're the ones you find when you need them most. Both girls were crying harder now, but they were also smiling. That's a good story, Emma said. Mama would have liked it. I hope so. Jake. Lily's voice was barely audible. In the story, what happened to the queen? After she died, I mean. Where did she go? Jake thought about how to answer. He wasn't religious, didn't have easy answers about heaven or afterlife. But looking at these two little girls who'd lost everything he found, words he didn't know he had. I think she's still with you. Not in a way you can see or touch, but in here. He touched his chest. Every time you do something brave, that's your mama. Every time you tell the truth, even when it's hard, that's her. Every time you love someone or fight for what's right, she's right there with you. She'll always be with you. Emma wiped her eyes. You really think so? I know so. Because love doesn't die. It changes shape, maybe, but it doesn't end. Your mama's love for you is going to last forever. Nothing can take that away. Both girls finally closed their eyes. Within minutes, they were asleep, still holding hands across the gap between beds. Jake sat there watching them for a long time. These two little girls, who'd been through hell, who'd lost their mother, who'd been hunted and terrorized, but who were still brave, still fighting, still holding on to hope. He'd found them less than 48 hours ago, and they'd already changed everything. Santos appeared in the doorway. They asleep. Finally. You're good with them. I'm making it up as I go. That's all any of us do. Santos gestured for him to join her in the hallway. We've got Morrison. Picked him up at his house 20 minutes ago. He tried to run, had a suitcase full of cash and a fake passport. We got it all on video. And the others? Ruiz is in custody. So are 14 other corrupt cops and cartel members. We're still hunting for a few, but the main players are done. It's over, Jake. The network Sarah Chen spent 2 years documenting is finished. Jake felt something release in his chest. It's really over. The arrests are. The trials will take time. Months, maybe longer. The girls will need to testify. Morrison's lawyers will try everything to discredit them. It won't be easy. But they'll be safe. They'll be protected. Federal custody during the trials. And you'll be with them every step of the way, if you want to be. I want to be, Santos smiled. Good. Because those girls need you, and I think you need them too. Yeah, I do. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Santos said, I've been doing this job for 15 years. I've seen a lot of bad things. A lot of people who do terrible things to children. But I've also seen heroes. People who step up when it matters. You're one of those people, Jake. I'm not a hero. You just gave up your entire life to protect two strangers. You fought a cartel hit squad. You're about to become a father to traumatized children. Yeah, Jake. You're a hero. Accept it. Jake looked back through the doorway at Emma and Lily sleeping. They're the heroes. They survived. They told the truth. They're the ones who made this possible. You're all heroes. That's how this works. One person starts the fight. Others join in. Together, you change things. Santos put a hand on his shoulder. Sarah Chen would be grateful for what you did, for what you're going to do for her daughters. I want you to know that. I hope so. I know so. I worked with Sarah for months trying to get her to trust me with her evidence. You want to know what she said? She said she needed to make sure her daughters would be protected if anything happened to her. She said she needed someone who wouldn't give up on them. Someone who'd fight for them no matter what. Santos's voice grew thick. She found that person. She just didn't know it yet. But somehow the universe put you in that gas station at exactly the right moment. And you didn't walk away. You could have. Most people would have. But you didn't. Jake's eyes burned. I couldn't. The moment I saw them, I couldn't walk away. That's what makes you a good man, and it's going to make you a good father. The next 3 days passed in a blur. Statements, paperwork, meetings with social workers who evaluated Jake's suitability as a guardian, background checks, home visits, though Jake had to admit his cabin wasn't exactly child-appropriate yet. Marcus helped. So did Patricia and Carol, who'd become unexpected allies. Even Bear sent people to help renovate the cabin, adding a second bedroom, child-proofing everything, making it into an actual home instead of just a place Jake crashed between rides. Emma and Lily stayed in federal protective custody, but Jake was with them every day, teaching them card games, reading them books, learning their favorite foods, their fears, their dreams. On the 4th day, Santos called Jake into her office. The judge approved temporary guardianship. You're officially Emma and Lily's legal guardian. Congratulations. Jake couldn't speak, could barely breathe. The adoption process will take longer. 6 months minimum, probably closer to a year. But as long as you don't screw this up, and I don't think you will, those girls will be yours permanently. Mine, Jake repeated. The word felt foreign and perfect at the same time. Yours. Now go tell them. They've been asking about it all morning. Jake found Emma and Lily in the playroom Agent Chen had set up. They looked up when he entered, eyes full of hope and fear. The judge said yes, Jake told them. You're coming home with me. Officially, legally. You're mine now. Both girls screamed and ran to him. They wrapped their arms around his waist and held on and cried and laughed at the same time. We're really yours, Emma asked through tears. For real. For real. You're Emma Morrison and Lily Morrison now. My daughters. My family. Forever, Lily asked. Forever. 6 months later, Jake stood in a courtroom wearing a suit he'd bought specifically for this occasion. Emma and Lily stood beside him in matching blue dresses. In the gallery sat Marcus, Patricia, Carol, Santos, Bear, and a dozen other Hell's Angels who'd quietly supported Jake through this entire process. The judge, an older woman with kind eyes, looked at the file in front of her, then at Jake and the girls. Mr. Morrison, I've reviewed your petition for adoption. I've read the social worker's reports. I've seen the evidence of the home you've built for these children. And I've spoken with Emma and Lily privately about their wishes. The judge's expression softened. It's not often I see a case like this. A stranger stepping in to protect children at tremendous personal cost. But it's even rarer to see that protection turn into genuine love and family. These girls have been through unimaginable trauma. They lost their mother in the worst possible way, but they found you. Or you found them. And together you've built something beautiful. Jake felt Emma squeeze his hand on one side, Lily on the other. Therefore, I'm granting this petition. Emma Chen and Lily Chen are hereby adopted by Jake Morrison. Their names are legally changed to Emma Chen Morrison and Lily Chen Morrison. Mr. Morrison, you are their father in every legal sense. These girls are your daughters. Permanently, irrevocably. Congratulations. The courtroom erupted in applause. Jake dropped to his knees and pulled both girls into his arms. They were all crying. Emma and Lily and Jake, this improbable family that shouldn't have worked but somehow did. We're really sisters, Morrison, now, Lily asked. Really and truly, Jake said. Forever. Good, Emma said fiercely, because we love you. We really, really love you. I love you too, both of you, so much. They held each other for a long time. Then Santos approached with a box in her hands. "I have something for you," she said to the girls. "From your mother." Emma and Lily looked up confused. Santos opened the box. Inside was a letter sealed with their names, written in neat handwriting. "Your mother wrote this 2 years ago when she started investigating the corruption. She gave it to me for safekeeping with instructions that if anything happened to her, it should go to her daughters when they were safe." With shaking hands, Emma took the letter. Jake helped them open it. The girls read silently, tears streaming down their faces. Then Emma read aloud, her voice breaking. "My dearest Emma and Lily, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. It means the bad people won. But it also means you survived. You were brave. You did everything I taught you. And now you're safe with someone who loves you. I don't know who that person is. Maybe Aunt Patricia. Maybe Uncle James. Maybe someone I've never met. But I know they love you because you're still here. You're still alive. And that's all that matters. I need you to know that everything I did to make the world safer for you, to make sure you could grow up without fear. The evidence I gathered will help stop bad people from hurting others. My sacrifice will matter because you're going to make it matter. You're going to tell the truth. You're going to be brave. You're going to live full, beautiful lives. And you're going to remember that I loved you more than anything in this world, more than my own life. You are my greatest achievement, my proudest accomplishment, my reason for everything. Be brave, my darlings. Be kind. Be true. And know that wherever I am, I'm watching over you. Always. I love you forever and always, Mama." There wasn't a dry eye in the courtroom. Emma folded the letter carefully and looked at Jake. Mama knew. She knew someone would save us. She knew we'd be okay. "She was right," Jake said. "You are okay. You're more than okay. You're strong and brave and amazing, just like her." "And we have you now," Lily added. "Mama would like you. I know she would." "I hope so, because I would have liked her too. She raised 2 incredible daughters." The celebration afterward was small, but perfect. Pizza and cake at Patricia's house. The girls laughing with Agent Chen and Marcus. Bear presenting Jake with a gift, a leather vest not Hell's Angels colors, but something new, custom made. The back patch read, "Morrison Family, Ride or Die." "You're not a Hell's Angel anymore," Bear explained. "But you're still a brother. This is your new patch, your new identity. You're a father now. That's the most important club you'll ever belong to." Jake put on the vest and felt something click into place. He wasn't running anymore, wasn't searching, wasn't lost. He was home. That night, Jake tucked Emma and Lily into their new beds in their new room in the cabin that was now truly a home. They were exhausted from the excitement, but fighting sleep like always. "Dad," Emma said. She'd started calling him that 2 months ago, and it still made Jake's heart skip every time. "Yeah, sweetheart. Thank you for finding us, for saving us, for loving us. Thank you for letting me, for teaching me how to be brave, for making me want to be better." "We're a team now," Lily said sleepily. Right. Forever and always. Like Mama said in her letter. Just like that." Jake sat between their beds like he had that first night in the federal building. Watched them fight sleep. Watched them finally surrender to it, still holding hands across the gap between beds. And he thought about that night 6 months ago. The gas station. The rain. 2 little girls behind a dumpster who'd changed his entire world. He'd spent 42 years running from responsibility, from connection, from anything that made him vulnerable or tied him down. Then he'd found Emma and Lily, or they'd found him, and everything changed. He wasn't Jake Diesel, Morrison Hell's Angels rider anymore. He was just Jake Morrison, father, protector, the man who'd shown up when 2 little girls needed someone most. And that was enough, more than enough. That was everything. Jake stood up quietly and walked to the door. stopped and looked back at his daughters sleeping peacefully for the first time in 6 months. "Sleep well, my girls," he whispered. "I've got you. I'll always have you." He turned off the light and left the door cracked open, went to his own room and lay down on his bed. And for the first time in as long as he could remember, Jake Morrison fell asleep without running from anything, because he'd finally found something worth staying for. 2 little girls who called him Dad, a family he'd built from ashes and promises, a life that meant something. And tomorrow, when Emma and Lily woke up, he'd still be there, keeping his promises, being the father they deserved, building the future Sarah Chen had died to give them. The story that started with "they hurt Mama" had become something else entirely. It had become "we found our dad." And that was the only ending that mattered.